why and how our first startup, which was a Edtech startup, failed. Let's discuss about and what you can learn from our failures so that you won't repeat that.
चलो भाई देखो अब मैं क्या करता हूँ.
So now in this video, I will discuss with my friend Rohit Thakur about everything you need to know about our failed startup. So let's begin.
Before starting, let me tell you a bit about myself. I started my career as a teacher when I was 16. It was 2016 when I really started teaching. At that time, I used to see and I used to observe few things in the students community. That is, not all students can learn at the same pace. That is, there was a need of personalized education for each and every student. And now in 2023, everyone will agree with me. Am I right, Mr. Anmol?
अबे जल्दी बोल कल सुबह पनवेल.
Exactly, because I was a student itself at that time.
And let me tell you a bit surprising fact about my teaching career, that Mr. Anmol was one of my first students that I have taught.
देख रहा है विनोद.
During the early phase of my teaching career, I used to see many problems. One of them were that students often lie about the result to their parents. When they get less marks, they won't inform their parents. When they get good marks, they inform it, right? And most of the time, parents don't even know what is going in their children's life. And at that time, the parents can only get updates about their children in the parent-teacher meeting. That used to happen about twice a year or sometimes thrice a year. And the gap between the two parent-teacher meetings is too long to be efficient. This was the second problem I observed at the time of my teaching career.
And on the other hand, it was really difficult for school management such as principals and vice principals to track the records of the classes and all the students, that what kind of marks they are getting and what progress is being done in the classes. So it was really tough for a principal to ask each and every teacher for their classes and marks every day and then evaluate what progress is being done and what are the areas that student and teacher has to focus on.
And when the COVID came in that no one had predicted, the education system of the India has been shaken. Am I
And
right?
to a certain level has been collapsed.
Yeah, exactly. What used to happen? Teachers used to send the assignments or updates on the WhatsApp, and they used to take live classes from the Zoom, which was not very efficient because students used to mute their mic and off their cameras and probably sleep, or just you can say use YouTube or Instagram, right?
Yeah, and teacher won't even argue with the student what they are doing, because that's the only best possible way at that time to hold the classes.
Exactly. And at that time, all the management app that schools were using was not that really efficient, because you can only see the marks or the attendance or whether the fees is paid or not, such basic things, right? And during the pandemic, everyone was lost, including teachers, parents and students, in the transition between offline learning to online learning.
हम मालूम है तेरे बाप को मत सिखा चल.
So what we have decided that we will make an app, or we will make a platform to solve all of these problems. So Anmol and me have started Android app development. At that stage of our life, it was not easy for us to afford $20,000 to $30,000.
Exactly, I was 16-year-old and
I was 19.
Yeah, and I had a passion about starting a startup. So I was thinking to do all the stuff that I could on my own, because we couldn't have money and we couldn't
That
even
much liberty with the, you can say, the capital.
Yeah, exactly. We couldn't have that much money, and neither we had investment or
Exactly.
investors who could fund us to start.
So we have barely worked about 8 months and we have completed over 50% of the app, right? And we will share the screenshots of the app that we have developed so far.
So you will see somewhere on the screen that the screenshot of our horribly UI designed app will be popping up.
Yeah. So the 50% of the work was left and we couldn't push ourselves to complete that, because at that time we used to think that it could be only done by professionals.
Exactly, because it needs professional UI, otherwise it will be terrible for everyone to use it efficiently, and of course it would need optimization so that app works smoothly even if thousands of people using it at the same time.
So what we have decided, that only way to continue the work is to find an investor. So we have approached few people. So we met a guy and he was one of the teacher of Anmol, and he invested around 2 lakhs, and he was an actual angel investor for us.
Although he got nothing in return because our startup failed, as you already know.
गजब टू भी आदमी.
Anyways, so let's know first this app called Art was able to do. So what was Art? Art was a multifunctional platform which could perform work like learning management system for schools, where teachers could take up the live classes, upload pre-recorded lectures, take tests of the students, give assignments and feed the marks and attendance, which would later be represented in the form of graphs so that parents and head of the school can track the performance of the student in real time. And it could perform function as educational social media, where teachers, students and school could form their groups, could chat with each other, even post their doubts and form polls on their feed. And our app was able to solve the biggest problem which made the online live classes inefficient, which was inability of teachers to track the attention of the students in the class. Whether all students behind the off camera are really listening to the teacher, or just watching YouTube, or sleeping after muting mic. With the Art, you could have solved that. The basic idea was to create a complete solution of efficient online learning for students, teaching for teachers, and management for schools.
So how did it fail? Let's talk about that. So after listening all these features, you might be wondering that Art should have been a hit by now, and it should have been a first choice of every school. Why not? Because it gives all the features to the school that it needs during an online class and during an offline class as well. It was not precisely made for an online class, it was not precisely made for an offline class.
But the major reason why the Art failed, because it was never completely built. So why did we say earlier that Art could have done that and that when it was never completely built? Because we have got the UI done from the professionals, from that 2 lakh investment, and all the complex features that require a specific algorithm had already been written by us and by the professionals. But we never got the full payment, or you can say we never got the enough capital to pay the developers so that they can deliver the app to us. And that was one of the major reasons why Art failed. But let us tell you, this was not the major reason, or you can say not the main reason that why Art has failed. So what we consider as one of the major reasons of the failure of the Art, and that is we were not able to raise enough investment for our startup. And why that's the case? Because we didn't approach the enough number of investors.
तो करना.
Exactly.
And that's the heartbreaking fact that I realize and Anmol realized today.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I clearly remember that I have approached around 40 to 50 investors, and I was like, phew.
बेटा तुमसे ना हो पाएगा.
Yeah, after getting rejected 40 to 50 times, we lose our hope.
Yeah, exactly. And also the second point was of the pre-orders from the
Exactly, we only approached 40 to 50 schools. Whereas in New Delhi, the capital of India, has thousands of schools, we only approached 40 to 50, and after getting rejected by them, we were thinking that we had approached enough and we thought that this idea might not work.
Exactly. So we really didn't know when to give up, and that was the major learning I learned from that startup.
Exactly, which you can also learn.
That you should know when you should give up. Because when I look back, I should have approached around 1,000 to 2,000 investors and 1,000 to 2,000 schools at least to get the idea work.
Not even in Delhi, but outside of Delhi as well.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what we think of right now. We cannot take the time back. So that is why we are bringing this video to you. So that you can
we learned our lesson in a hard way. So we think that you can learn it in an easy way. So the last part of the video is, will we revive Art again? And the answer is, unfortunately not. And why is that? So right now we feel that we are already behind the clocks, and we are already involved in 4 to 5 other businesses that we have to focus on, otherwise we will lose all the current businesses and we cannot afford that.
वो चूना लगा दिया.
And one of the major thing is that what I personally feel why I don't want to push Anmol or myself to continue the Art is that there are many big players like Google, right? The Microsoft has already begun their ventures in this sector, right?
Exactly, and they can do a lot better than us, but still I feel there's always a space for a new player in the game.
Exactly. But unfortunately or fortunately, we are not going to start the Art again.
Unless and until this video will be a hit and some investors will approach us and ask us to revive it again. Otherwise, I don't see that
Or
this
we-
is a case.
Or unless we become guys like Mr. Beast who can invest the money blindly in any business. And at that time, me and Anmol will surely be going to invest in art and start to revive it again. Even when we fail, we know that we will got views, right?
Exactly. So jokes apart, we will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for your time.
Have a nice day.